broadcasting from a brand new studio located in a secret underground
That's
bunker,
the word.
right,
Yes,
Tony?
that's the word.
And I have some interesting people here. Not only one counselor with me, not only two counselors with me, but three. I've got Tony Stevens from Exeter St. Thomas. I've got Neil, of course, and I've got Nat Vanstone from Broadcliff. Thank you so much for joining us, guys. Now, today we're going to be discussing a very interesting topic. It's the hotel migrant situation in Exeter, and we're broadcasting on YouTube and Facebook. Facebook, if you have any Facebook people, if you have any questions, go ahead and ask them on, and we'll try to answer them tonight. And also, guys, tell your friends about our broadcast. And take a look at Neil's YouTube and hit the subscribe button. So here we go, guys, okay? So before we start, Nat, can I turn it over to you and just ask you to tell us who you are? You look like a very interesting person.
Of course you can. And good evening, guys. I'm Nathaniel Vanstone, born and bred in Devon. Grew up in Thorverton, born in Tiverton.
You grew up then, did you?
I did, yeah. I did. My wife will question that one, but I like to think I'm getting slightly more mature in my old age. Yeah. So grew up in Thorverton, a massive farming background.
You said Thurleton. Where is that?
Thorverton. Little village just outside of Exeter, between Exeter and Tiverton.
Yeah, thank you.
So grew up there. Did a bit of farming. Went to Picton College. Then I did a plumbing MVQ3. Stayed in Ireland for a little while and came back. They drank too much. and then I met my wife, and we took on a rented farm in Broadcliff.
Did you meet your wife in Ireland or here?
No, in here. Well, over here. And from that point, we then set up a business, an equine business.
Equine? What kind of wine is that?
If it was wine, it'd be a lot more fruitful. It's equine, as in horse.
Horse,
yeah.
Okay, awesome.
So we break in school horses, and over the last 3 years, we've been training pointers, race horses.
Thank you. And how did you become a counsellor? Why and when?
If I'm honest, I felt let down by what has turned into a uni party. I want to give my kids and their grandkids a better future, and hold people to account that have not had the majority of people's interest in this in the county.
You know, as you're talking, I was just reminding myself that y'all are three people here that are local people, and you live in your constituencies. You know the issues, right, Neil? I think you've lived here.
I mean, like I've said before, the reason I become a counsellor is for my children and my grandchildren, and that's the first time I've heard you actually mention that. And it's the same with Tony himself. So, you know, we have grandchildren. It's about our future. You know, we need to change things.
Well, it's about their future. Remember that.
Yeah, it is. It's about their future. Yeah, because I'm quite old now. I'm 60. You know, I'm whatever age I depart this world. At least I can say I've actually done something. Yeah.
Well, you've fallen into the trap. So what have you done, Neil? We haven't been on since, oh, blimey, I don't even remember, 7 weeks, right?
A few unsuccessful attempts.
You want to tell us a little bit about why?
Without going into detail, first of all, we got told to stay silent. The truth will come out in the end, and all I'm going to say is that. Okay. Secondly, we have invested in order to get everybody the message out of what we are achieving. You know, we're not looking at lorries going down different roads. There was a lot of things going on, a lot of plates being spinning around, and they're still spinning around. But we did have some disastrous times. So we've actually sat here. It didn't go out. My apologies. Next time we videoed it thinking it would go out, but there was no sound. But we've got an excellent person who supports us, and we finally are here. So well done, guys, for the effort. Yeah. And apologies to everybody
else. And we
else
have been given the thumbs up as well to say that it is broadcasting.
Yeah.
And we're not just talking
by the way,
to
the guy's
ourselves.
name is Dan, and I'm sure he's listening on. He's really, really a great guy.
Yeah, and we've had other people who help us out as well, so thank you.
Yeah. Okay, great, Neil. Thanks very much. So what have you been doing? Have you been doing anything?
Yeah,
What?
so I did
Tell us.
something for a bit of to bring people's awareness. It was Weed of the Week. We will declare the winner at the end. We've got a winner. I can't show you all the pictures because there's loads of pictures, but for the next 3 weeks, send your pictures in. We will get Weed of the Week. I will come down to your house, and as you see, you get some weed killer, and then go and then for that. So I'm just making sure we've got voice and volume coming out. People are looking, talking.
Okay, great. I don't know what you're asking me to do. If I could turn up the volume button, is that what you want me to do, Neil, or what? Huh?
I don't know. I just
But,
confirmed that they can all hear us hear us
It's
online.
probably because I'm
Okay.
sat next
Hey,
to it.
Mr. Producer, behind the desk there, maybe do you think you could ask our other guy, Dex, outside if we're doing sound? Got some sound
Yeah,
coming out?
Dex is on
Yeah.
it now.
Okay, great. Perfect.
Okay,
Right,
brilliant.
Well, we'll carry
Awesome.
on.
Okay,
Yeah.
so let's carry on. If there is a little bit of a glitch, please bear with us. We will iron it out, and as each week go by,
It's a
we'll get
brand
that
new
up.
studio and
Secret
so-
studio.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, back on point. So the weed situation, we're on that, right, Neil?
Yeah, correct. So we've done Weed of the Week, which will come up the end.
Yeah.
The next thing I'll be looking at is the heat network transparency. Grace Road, a little bit controversial around it. I'm not going to blow it out of proportion. I'm just want to get the truth. We all have different reasons why we want it, and we have reasons why we don't want it. Okay, and the next one is the rapid planning and building around Alphington and the near future. We're not taking in consideration the traffic jams. Today I was stuck in traffic for a good 2 hours just coming in Alphington.
That's super. Now, those are interesting topics, but I think you're also working on some major initiatives, right? Some strategic ones. Tell us about that a little bit.
Yep. So first of all, one of mine was to win the seat to Devon County Councillor for Alphington and Cowick, which one of my that took a lot of effort and a lot of hours. Okay, and I'm new. I've got local blood. I've been born and bred here, so I know how this area works. Okay, I am doing scrutiny on the heat source pump, so I'm doing some background research on that. I've put a motion forward for change in food waste. That's been accepted by Devon County Council, and that will come up at the next meeting on the 4th of September. I put 3 other motions together. I'm not going to go through them. I'm getting pushed back on some of them. One is finding funding to sort the weeds out. And the last one is a big topic which I'm really getting my teeth into, is the stagecoach and the reliability of it.
Okay, great, Neil. And if you don't mind, I'd like to just go back to the Energy Center because that's a fascinating topic. Because one thing I've noticed is that and I haven't really investigated in detail, but one thing I've observed is that there are about 8 different. There's one holding company. There's an investment company. The holding company has 8 other limited companies. There are tax advisors, KPMG. There are directors who are earning through a limited LLP. There are a lot of overhead, a lot of cost, a lot of people making a lot of money, and I'm just wondering whether the usual normal people like us who have to pay the bills are paying for them. Of course we are. So I think this is a great topic to get into, right?
Yeah, without growing arms and legs, and I'm not here to rock the boat, and I'm not making any allegations against anybody. Let's get that right. It's just a transparency. Why were they putting pipes in before they had planning permission? I've got a lot of, I've done a lot of research on it, but I will keep it behind closed doors a minute just to get proper answers from the right people. So I'm not going to air it in public yet until we got the facts right and they have a chance to give me a justified answer for it. That's the best way.
Okay, fantastic, Neil. Thanks. And hey, by the way, before we get to you, Tony, can I just add in, Nat, after we're done with Tony, if we have a little time, maybe you could update us on what you've been doing. I assume you've been doing stuff in the country and broadcast, right?
I've got 17 parishes to try and get round and visit. And,
Fantastic.
Yeah,
okay.
ticking them off
Anyway,
slowly, yeah.
suck
You
it in.
enjoying it though?
Suck it in and wait for Tony
Absolutely.
So Tony, you've got some great initiatives going, right? Tell
Well,
us
yeah,
about what you're up to.
I mean, one of the things I did as I thought Neil there was doing it, I thought, well, let's give Neil a bit of competition. So I thought I'll see if I can match some of his weeds of the week. I haven't managed to match them so far, but I have come close. One of the
Well,
things
you have
to-
bigger weeds than these.
I
Bigger.
will, if I have
Huh?
to, I will
You've
find
been
those
fertilizing
weeds.
the weeds along
I
the way or
intend to
something,
get
huh?
a winner in my area.
I
you
bet
know.
you've been going out with, what is it called, glyphosate over the
I've
Neil's
been
weeds.
encouraging little
No,
areas
that's,
that I
that's
think.
interesting you bring
Huh?
that up, the weed killer, because
Yeah.
you've been doing some research which is like friendly
Yeah. Yeah.
weed killer, and about the machine which they can use. Devon County Council apparently own one.
Yes, apparently so. I mean, if you can trust AI these days, it's a bit sketchy, as we know, Neil.
Yeah.
But what I do know is, in fact, I rarely post on Facebook, but I went to London and I noticed that all the streets, wherever I went, are no weeds. There's no graffiti, no nothing, and they use glyphosate. So Sadiq Khan, you know, he's supposed to be an energy green guy. They're using it there. And
Well,
there are a lot of
we-
councils, like you
yeah.
go to Oxford, if you go shopping there, a beautiful city,
Mm.
there no weeds in the street. So
Okay. Well,
it's worth
we're
discussing.
digging into that, and we're talking to the right people, and
Excellent.
I've put a motion in to see if we can get funded.
Great,
Yeah.
excellent. So Tony, back to your massive weed. Okay.
Well, the massive
you're gonna
weed,
Kill,
I'm-
you're
I'm
gonna
not
kill
saying
Neil
I'm
on,
not
eh?
saying where it is, but let's just say
Okay.
it's a dead cert
He's
winner.
been trying to beat me for the last
I've been
2
trying
weeks.
for the 6 weeks we've been on air. I've been trying,
Man-sized weed,
cultivating,
eh?
and mothering it, and I think I've got a winner there.
Okay, let's move on from
Right,
weeds.
moving on
okay?
from
What's
weeds.
the
I
next
think
one?
we've heard enough of that. Another thing is the disability, disabled, and the lack of equipment in our leisure centres in Exeter. I've been trying to deal with Exeter Leisure about the lack of facilities. They all say they've got equipment for the disabled and for the wheelchair user, but nobody seems to be using it. So when I go to the Riverside and I do look at the equipment they've got, there is somebody who I've been talking to who's a specialist in it. He is a wheelchair user. He's represented Devon in various sports, so he does know what he's talking about. And he has advised Exeter Leisure what equipment to get, because nobody's using the equipment they've got because it's unsuitable. Apparently, he's been blanked at all stages. I've tried with no success, so I'm going to push it further and take it to Devon County, because if it's happening in Exeter, for all I know, there might be leisure centres around Devon controlled by the councils who may have the right equipment. And,
Yeah.
you know, everybody's entitled to use these places. But if they can't use them, then why have the equipment there? You know?
Yeah, it's interesting because I think you're referring to this man that was on last week, and we videoed him
Yeah.
It didn't
and
quite work
recorded it on the hard drive, and I was so enthusiastic, and I went home to upload it up on YouTube, and there was no flipping sound. But anyway, what I was going to say is the man goes to the gym all the time. He's disabled.
He's a
in
very
wheelchair.
active gym user.
And one of my great guys, young man who's a lodger in my house, he goes to the Riverside gym all the time, and every flipping time, Tony, he's there, he sees Jeff.
Yeah.
So
I didn't want to name him,
Um,
but yeah, it was a person called.
so it is important, you know, to people that are
we'll call him
disabled
Jeff for now.
to be able to
Yeah,
to
I
be
mean,
fit, right?
He is an expert in his field, and he has advised the leisure centre management what equipment to get. But apparently, and I can only say apparently, they are adamant that they buy this equipment from one company and one company only, and it is no good.
Okay.
A
So
lot of-
Tony, I'm going to cut you off. You've been going on forever about it.
Oh,
I can
sorry,
see-
yeah.
I can see your passion
No, we have a
about it, but-
timeline, guys.
but,
we
uh,
have to stick to
anyway,
the
He
timeline.
likes to talk,
number
yeah.
3 there, Tony, okay?
Well, I mean, council spending priorities. I mean, what are their priorities? I mean, we know it's cycle lanes. We know it's that lovely walkways. Now, you know, there's enough cycle lanes in Exeter now, I think, and there's
Well,
called
we got to look at
pavements.
both sides of the story now, so we can't say that. We just say that we
Well,
need to look at cycle lanes and
you know.
whether we can interject both things: vehicles, cycle lanes, pedestrian crossings, so it suits everybody.
I think the biggest thing is getting cyclists to use
Actually
the
cycle on the
provided,
road, which is
yeah,
another thing, isn't it?
you know, and I think everybody holds the same responsibility, whether you're riding a bike or driving
Correct,
a car.
yeah.
You respect each other and not hold people up trying to get to work in their cars.
Don't cycle 3 abreast.
Yeah, it's just general politeness. We've all got to use the
Yeah.
roads, and if it's there, please, that's what I would say.
Thank you, Nat. And okay, so on to some. So you have some sort of larger strategic ones, but I think if I could maybe say this for you, Tony, is one of the biggest strategic initiatives you have delivered is that you got elected. And
Yeah,
that's,
I got
that's
elected,
a step
yeah.
change because you defeated someone who is well known in Exwick, and but you've lived here all your life, I think. haven't you?
I have, yeah. I've lived in the.
So well done to
Alphington, St.
that,
Thomas
and
ward
to
all my
everybody
life.
that is
And
out
for
there
my
in your
sins, I went to
constituency.
school here as well. There we go.
Okay. And you're using top of the next page here, young man. Facebook to. How are you using Facebook in your work?
Well, Facebook is to sort of, an example being I went to the Exwick Fete on Saturday, met some really interesting people, and it's to sort of get my message out there that I do have a locality fund. It is a certain amount, and obviously I am limited to a point of telling people that they can apply for it. It's not me who has the final decision. Unfortunately, it's Devon County. I'd love to give you all money, but I have done some worthy causes. I think Exwick History Society, I've given them money because I do think it's important to keep the history alive in these places. And also a charity called Flow, which seem to want trees, fruit trees, and they want to make trails going all the way up the River Ex.
Well done.
So on my side, I felt because we've got quite a lot of canals and rivers, I felt it was important to give them £500
Yeah.
towards their target.
And Neil, what is this? About 8,000 pounds or that, right?
Yeah, it's £8,000.
Yeah.
I've dished out £2,500.
Yeah.
I spoke to a gentleman today with the War Memorial in Alvington, and that you're going to tell your story in a minute.
Yeah. And Tony, have you had much interest from people asking for
Yeah,
grants?
I mean, you have to sort of pick out the ones that are trying to.
Yeah.
I mean, they're charities who
Sure.
obviously they write to everybody, and the genuine cases. Other cases obviously are like the food banks. One of the food banks, and I have offered money to another food bank in St. Thomas as well, because obviously that's another important thing. You have to keep these charities going.
Yeah, well done.
And they do rely on the donations.
Okay, super. Hey, Nat, what are you a miser? You know, you're holding on that $8,000 and not giving it out to your constituents?
No.
Or
You've
tell
done
us
well,
what.
haven't you?
I've had a number of requests, and all pretty much very worthwhile causes. Defibrillator machines for villages. There was a tree vandalised in Clis St Mary, a memorial tree, which they wanted to be replaced. So and also Henry Gent, the other councillor that works alongside me, we try and go 50-50 on the input, if we can both agree on it. Some things we don't, but I prefer to. I look at it as more of a use for everybody in the community, from a new bench in a sports park or.
It has to benefit the whole community.
The whole community, yeah. And it's a very good feel-good factor, especially when you're reading through your emails, and there's a lot that is not so good.
That's great. And Nat, just maybe give us one example of something interesting that is going on in your constituency that you're involved with, other than issuing grants to people.
So it was last week or the end of the week before, I had a visit to Marsh Green Parish Council, or the Rockbeer, it's Rockbeer Parish Council, but I met a couple of parish councillors there. And there's a large solar farm going in between Marsh Green and the airport. Well, what it looks like, and I'm not pointing any fingers, and I'm not gonna, because it's still rumbling on, but there were some old hedgerows taken out, which went beyond the realms of the planning. So that's still rumbling on. I've got involved with that.
Okay, well done.
The biggest frustration for me at the moment is going through the portal.
What does that mean?
So
what is the portal?
Every county councillor has a members portal. So any questions or anything that your parish councils want to bring up, and want you to pass it on to DCC, it's our job to post it on there. I get so many I put through, and you're nearly guaranteed of a no
No reply.
mainly because of funding. There's no money.
Okay.
These
These are what
I've been
requests from
successful with one.
constituents.
Yeah, mainly parishes, parish councils.
What, for
and
work that they
constituents.
want done,
Yeah,
or
Yeah, and
Okay.
ongoing issues that they've either contacted DCC and had no
Mm.
reply.
Mm.
One recently, as recent as yesterday, for St George, there is a thing called a P3 payment, which is a pathway scheme. They handed in their 2024 forms. They haven't had payment for that yet, and they're due to now hand in the 25
Mm.
forms. So
Okay. Well, that's interesting. That's there's more work that I thought, being a counselor.
it's more than
Yeah,
potholes.
right?
It
Yeah.
is more than potholes.
And weeds.
Okay, guys. So let's get on to this interesting topic. I think what maybe, I guess what we're going to discuss is housing and hotels relating to the presence of.
Yeah.
What's the
Right,
topic?
We've got to be very
exactly now?
careful here.
Yeah.
Okay, because I do not want to step out the box. So the way we're going to try, and I use the word try to discuss it tonight, is we're going to look at both sides of the discussion. I want to use the word argument, which has been put in the papers, discussion. So we're going to look at for and against. So this is a touchy subject. We're going to try not to upset anybody. If we do, is apologies. But we'll, like I said, we'll try and look at both sides.
Yeah.
Agree, guys?
Yeah, I agree.
100%.
Yeah.
And I think what, to be honest, what prompted this was we became aware that there was sort of a gathering of people that had opinions about it, if we could say that diplomatically, protesters, whatever you want to say it, at the Hampton Inn in Exeter. And I had no idea, actually, but apparently the Hampton Inn at the airport, which is the only, I think it's the only hotel there,
It is.
it's
yeah.
fully booked up by the Home Office. It's fully booked. It's a 160-room hotel. I stayed in there 4 years ago. And hey, Mr. Producer, can you flash up that screen again of the hotel, please? Slide 3 if you can. But I had no idea. And as a matter of fact, there are other hotels in the area which I've heard of, but haven't confirmed. So
Yeah,
it's-
we haven't confirmed, and we're not going to confirm either.
Yeah.
So let's get this right, that there's a majority of families in that hotel. Okay, so what we've been told is it's families. Yes, they will have men because they have a family, right? And there's children and wives. So we have to respect this. So we're going to be very sensitive. It's just discussion for and against.
Yeah. And so we're going to talk about how do people feel, and what's the causes, what's the solutions, and we're going to kick that discussion off with some facts, one of which is Neil's favorite, Tony. He's always talking about the French flipping resolution.
Oh yeah. He's
Not
been looking at his
revolution.
history again.
Why do we have to
not
talk about?
revolution.
So he's
Why do
gonna-
we have to talk
If-
about the French all the time,
If there
Neil?
was a resolution, it might
Okay.
be done by now.
So, all right,
Okay.
you got 2 minutes, Neil.
All right. So a lot of people, we use the word left wing, right wing, and then they add the words far right, far left. So you could go socialism, whatever,
Racism, xenophobia, you
racism and
name
all
it.
that. Okay, so let's just pull it all the way back before we start labeling people. So in the 17th century, if you wanted change, you sat on the left part of Parliament. The left wing. It's about a seat position. That's all it is.
Hmm.
If you want everything to stay the same, tradition and everything like that, you sat on the right wing of Parliament. And that's where it come from. Left wing, right wing. So it's been hijacked. This is my view. It's been hijacked by various sorts of people. And I'm not saying the left side or the right side, but people, the public, the news outlets, everybody, politicians, they add the word far left and far right. But let's bring it back. Well, let's stop using these words far right. Yeah, there is people extreme, I agree. All right, and there's no different. There's people on the
No,
left. Would you
I ne-
agree, lads?
There's a lot of people.
I never
in the
knew
middle.
that, what you're saying,
And-
because I always
Yeah.
thought, Nat, that people on the right were right. That's what it was. I thought that's what you're going to say.
No.
But
So
it goes
it's
back to
keeping
French.
tradition or you want change.
Okay.
So, but let's go back to what we're discussing now. All right, we're looking at a conversation, and we're going to look at both sides. Okay, we're going to cut the label about arguments. We're not going to use the word far right, far left. Okay, we're just going to look at individual people who live in this country who have a right to either stand up and say something, everybody has a right to listen and to be heard. That's my
Okay.
view.
Well, should we dig in a little bit of the facts? Because again, I had no idea that that hotel was booked up and that there were other hotels being used. But, and guys, feel free to comment here, but there are 109,000 asylum claims last year, okay? And 38,000 of them came from people across the English Channel on the boats, okay? 70% of the asylum cases were approved, and of those who were disapproved, 15% of them were foreign criminals, apparently. I don't know how they understand that, because none of
Well, you
them have
wouldn't admit it,
passports,
really.
right?
I mean, you wouldn't admit it, would you, that you were
Yeah.
a foreign criminal? But
And what's a bit bothersome is that 50% of them stay illegally in the UK. So basically, out of all the people that come, it doesn't take higher mass, but 85% of them stay here. 15% illegally and 70% legally because they've had their asylum case approved. And then what happens is, sort of like in America, is you've got the family refugee reunion program. So, for example, if if a man comes here and he says, "Oh my gosh, I missed my wife and my kids," so they get to come over if his asylum case is approved. So it's not just the 109,000, Neil, that come across. Okay, it's larger than that. And I think the situation is that they're here. They come across without going into Heathrow and having your passport checked. They come here illegally. See, that's
Yeah, no,
okay.
everybody knows how they get here, and everybody knows we can discuss all day why they're coming, right? So we're gonna, they get on a boat, they're seeking a better life. I mean, I've worked in these countries, and nothing against these countries. They have their way, we have our way. Okay,
Yeah.
so we're going to look at their way, we'll look at our way, but they're seeking a better life.
Yeah, and the thing is, there's a lot of legal immigration, and again, personally, I'm in favor of that, of course, because those are they're here legally, right? For example, I'm an immigrant. Sorry about that. And I guess you're a flippin' immigrant too, Nat, right? But
Most people
now,
are from Tiverton.
I'm going to
but,
dig into this because I came over here in 1997. I had a work permit, and then when my lovely wife, 25 years, decided that she was enamored with me, I had to leave the country and come back in to get a work permit. So anyway, hey Nat, I forgot to check your green card. Are you here legally or what?
yeah, I'm fully legal. I've just renewed my passport, thankfully.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Well, let's, if you don't have any other comments there, let's talk about the makeup here.
Yeah, that was interesting when we done our research, the makeup, and we are a Christian country. We can't stop
Yeah.
that. But we are multicultural. Whether we had a choice on that, I don't know. Okay,
Mhm.
but go down to your figures about America, for example.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's funny. It was interesting because America, at least let's say 100 years ago, when there was a huge immigration surge, when my great-grandfather and mother came over, they came over and they were part of a big wave, and they were flipping here, keep my memory going. They're predominantly from Germany, Ireland, Italy, Russia, and Austria-Hungary. Some of them are from Europe, okay, most of them. And it doesn't take rocket science to figure out, Neil, that there are people that share our sort of, it's Christian-based, and our, women have achieved the right to vote, some basic fundamentals about our society. Whereas in the UK now, the research that I've got here, the top 5 countries are Pakistan, Afghanistan, Iran, Bangladesh, and Syria, right? So no offense against those countries, because if I lived in one of those countries, I want to come over, right?
Yeah, okay, so I'm going to put a little bit of a discussion here, which...
Yeah, be fair.
Remember I said I'm trying to sit on the fence here.
Yeah.
So let's look at Afghanistan, Syria and all that. Who's basically gone in there and disrupted that country?
Well, the Taliban have, right?
Right, so I know
Now,
quite
you
a lot.
fought there. You tell me. What are you
Right,
asking me
so
for?
Okay, so a place called Garesh, right, was where a young lady was sexually abused by some Afghan soldiers, and the young students basically defended or had a fallout. I'm trying to use my words correctly, and the Taliban was born. And if I'm correct, and I'm sure people will correct me if I'm wrong, Taliban is preacher of God. What now? Preacher of God. Okay, but there's a saying, and these were basically sorting their own issues out in their country. Okay, so I've worked over there. I've seen the issues they've got, but remember, it's quite a touchy subject with me because 80-90% of these people are lovely people, and this is from my heart. So I've been invited into the houses. I've had food with them. We've even had to tell them to stop slaughtering the last goat or sheep. Okay, it's the small percentage who don't want you there, and that's the reality. Why would you want an occupation force in your country? All right, so we have disrupted that country.
Yeah.
Syria. I know you might not like what I say, but Syria, we've blown up, and it's been getting attacked all the time.
Well, I think Putin did a number on Syria, didn't he? Bomb the HELL out of that country. But yeah, I agree. I mean, the odd thing was, for example, when they come over on the boats, the stats are, it says the vast majority don't have passports. I do the same thing. I'd throw it in the water.
Well, I was going to say that's where
I'd say, you know what? I just came over from Italy. That's what I'd say if I were them, even though I have an Afghanistan accent.
The thing being, if there's nothing to hide, why do that?
Well, good point. Yeah.
They're at the moment they're being very well looked after, from what we'll see on the news and what certain towns and cities are experiencing at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
But if you've got nothing to hide, why throw it all away?
Yeah.
If you're a legitimate person, like Tony said, seeking genuine asylum in a country that they think is better than their own,
mm-hmm.
why be a blank page? And
what do you think, Neil?
Problem?
Well, I'm trying to put myself in their position. I'm not talking about the people for and against right now. So I live in a country I could be suppressed. You've got Iran, Iraq, Libya, all these countries.
Bangladesh.
Yeah, I'm not saying Bangladesh. I don't know much about, but they're potentially war zones, and they want to get out of it. This is one aspect. I could give you another view, which I will do in a minute. All right, so these young men are fleeing war-torn areas. I must admit, my mother lives across the road. I wouldn't want to leave my mother at home, put it that way. Okay, but they seek to get a better life.
Yeah.
Does anybody know the exact figure that this government in this country have given to France to?
Oh, it's millions.
Millions.
Oh, it's hundreds of millions. Yeah.
Surely would that not be better spent on rebuilding parts of their countries that have been?
Okay, so I'm going to answer this. If you,
so it makes it a better place for them to live.
But, and I know people's going to correct me. This is saying that, I've been on the ground, so I know what I'm talking about. Okay, so we're Pacific countries, say Afghanistan. So it's all run by warlords. It's the bully in the ground, or on the ground. Okay, and you won't get away with it. It's been going on for hundreds of years, centuries. All right, we're supposed to be educated. They think we're uneducated. And we could discuss this all day. But most of the areas are run by warlords, and a lot of money is passed around. Okay, and I will say it is corrupt. Okay, there was a lot of money invested over there, but a lot of money went missing. Remember, Russia invested a lot of money in Afghanistan. They built the road, the A1, all the way around it. Yeah. The Americans built all the canals down there.
Yeah.
All right, but over the years, it's been abused, and people have made money.
It's a difficult area.
I mentioned Dostrum.
Is it lawless?
No, it's not lawless because Taliban run it.
The Taliban has taken control of it.
But also the warlords have their own discipline and their own. So I wouldn't say it's lawless.
Yeah.
Right, because then these aren't stupid people. All right, it's not lawless, but it's governed by bullies, or I wouldn't use the word bullies, but warlords.
Yeah.
All right, and it's like mayors. You could put it as mayors. They're like the mayors, and I'm not associating warlords with mayors, by the way.
Yeah.
So I'm not.
Well, here's you have to fact check me if there are any fact checkers out there. So America has the best paid soldiers. Okay. You agree with that, Tony?
I would have said the best paid and the best equipped.
Okay, probably so. Yeah. Okay. 4 years ago, who had the second highest paid soldiers in the world? Neil, do you know the answer to that question?
Yes, I do. So hang on, I'm thinking you're wrong. Actually, Switzerland is the best undefeated country. Because
No, I'm
of the
talking about
amount- I know,
paycheck, money in the pocket.
Money in the
Afghanistan,
pot.
Afghanistan, because the U.S., primarily the U.S., paid to have, instead of people growing poppies, they got them off the fields and had this military force, had the best equipped, probably the top, was it the top 3 army or the third best army? Anyway, we spent a lot of money to make a long story short.
Right. So I've
Yeah.
worked with them. I've worked
Yeah.
with the units out there, and I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So they are, a lot of money was invested to them, right? But some of them went there because they wanted money to
Yeah.
feed their families.
So anyway, I think, as Forrest Gump says, that's
Shall
all I
we
got to say
flip
about
back to
that,
the
right?
hotels in
Yeah.
Exeter?
Please.
So we know there was a
Protest.
2 sides who have different opinions.
Yeah, had a
out there.
conversation, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think
It wasn't as nice a conversation as we're having now, actually, but go ahead.
yeah. So we're trying to be a conversation on both sides. So what we're going to look at now is, the people for it. Let's look at people for it.
Okay.
Okay, if I'm right. So the people for it. So I didn't go out there because I will not go out there, right? But why are people want these people to be protected or housed? Well, it's very simple. The first thing I would say is, do we want these people who already hit the land? They've hit the shore. We don't want them on the streets, do we? Because,
That makes sense, yeah.
yeah. Nobody wants to be on the
Yeah.
street.
Yeah.
In this day and age, we shouldn't have anybody on the street. Would you say?
Yeah.
No.
Well-
but our British citizens
Are on the street.
who should have been priority from years back. I'm not. All of a sudden, the government can send billions of pounds to another country, but we've got guys that have fought for us, and people that have had mental health issues, lots of issues in their lives, and they've been out on the streets in the cold for years, and yet it must just feel like a kick in the ass to some of those guys.
Can we get the slide up, Doug, with the people for it, please?
Can I say about the people for it as well? If they do want open border policies, then they should be prepared to put these people up in their homes. Well, as my argument, put them up in their homes. They're
It's not an argument. We're discussing.
A discussion, sorry,
Yeah.
but they should be prepared to back their words.
Well, I'll give you an example, Tony. It's a difficult situation because, for example, you have the hotel, okay? There are a lot of people in that hotel, and they want to, integrate them into the community. Now, next door to Neil, there are 4 council houses, I think, right? Now, these people, if their asylum case is being heard, they're not allowed to work, see? So they're going to be wandering the streets, I think. I might be wrong, but they're going to be wandering the streets around where you live, and busy hands make happy hands. And if you don't have busy hands, then
Right, yeah, so going back
that's-
to, we can't put them on the streets, and
It's
for
very
a minute
difficult
we can't
situation.
detain them, right?
yeah.
But we'll talk about the change of policy with the government in a minute. But also, let's look at the legal obligation. We have a legal obligation because we're under the
Court of Human
ECHR.
Rights.
Court of
Yeah.
Human Rights.
Yeah.
Right, so we have to
European
stick
Court.
to that.
Yeah.
Right. So these
Um,
people are here.
I mean, let's go through some stats here. There are 32,000 asylum seekers who haven't had their case approved, Tony, and they're staying in hotels. And I was just thinking, if Hampton Inn is 160 rooms, let's say, that's about 200 hotels. That's a lot of hotels around the country, isn't it?
It's a lot of hotels.
And there are
yeah.
58,000 in housing. Now, we've always had, as long as I've been in this country, a housing crisis, And my daughter now, she pays astronomically for a house, and she has to pay her money. So it's a very difficult situation.
Yeah, going back to it, so we've got to put them somewhere, and the government, and it's not just this government, previous government will put them in hotels. We've established that.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
All right. I
But
can
where are they
see,
going
yeah.
then?
Yeah.
So let's look. They've got to be going somewhere because they can't. Mentally, it wouldn't be any good for them to stay in a hotel for the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
So they've got to go somewhere. So the answer is where they're going to go, or where are they going? Do we know?
Well, after their case is heard, then if they aren't so, able to support themselves, then Devon County, for example, will house them like as they do other needy people. And I noticed, about a month ago, Devon County Council advertised, said, "Hey, anybody has houses, please get in touch with us." Right?
But the
Isn't
big
that the answer?
question as well is:
Am I wrong?
Yeah, no,
Are they getting-
They were offering landlords, I think, 4 or
are
5
they
years.
getting
Yeah.
priority over the local people?
We'll come back to. I'm trying to stick to reasons for before we go reason it right.
Mm.
So they're also saying positive integration.
Yeah.
There is stories coming out. So we
Okay.
can't always paint that every immigrant and every person coming to this country is bad, because they're not all bad, all right? They might all be good, but if we do a percentage, they're not all good.
Sure. Yeah. They're seeking better life.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
Um,
we paint everybody with the same brush,
yeah.
but we shouldn't be.
Yeah.
But we are an island, and there is a point. And
Yeah,
I know I'm playing
I agree
Devon's
with that, but
advocate on this
I
one.
think the hotels are happy because they're fully booked and
Well,
they
they're
get
fully,
paid
they're
for a
fully
long time,
booked.
don't
But
they?
Yeah.
what started off as a good thing, putting these people, these refugees in hotels, was a good idea, but it's just got out of control.
Yeah. I mean, as you say, in fact, the Labor government has pledged to reduce the hotel usage by 2029.
I think that's because they're going to buy hotels, so technically they'll own
Okay.
them then.
I think it's really, and look at, okay, I'm being a bit of a devil's advocate now, because there are so many things that doesn't sit right with people when people's children are trying to get driving lessons booked and they see that immigrants are getting driving tests or a dentist. Some people haven't seen a dentist for God knows how many years because they haven't, or because they couldn't. And it's a question of fairness, and also when these migrants eventually do get processed, I think the only right and fair thing for councils to do is be totally transparent with its constituent or residents, and fully explain if a government or the government has bought 20 houses in a new building or a new estate somewhere.
Be upfront.
Be
about it.
upfront about it.
Yeah.
It is what-
Don't try and sneak it in.
So you've raised a good issue about transparency. It does. If
Well, you've had some emails from your constituents. haven't you?
I've had emails as well from constituents who are worried because they're being pushed further and further down the housing ladder, and yet it seems, again, I'm going to be careful what I say, people coming in are given priority. And I've noticed it, to be honest. I live in the area and I have noticed a change in the
Dynamic.
dynamics, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well-
Well, before we change subject, so let's look at the only thing I'm concerned about, and it's not just about the hotels, it's about all the other buildings that are being built. Yeah, there's no infrastructure, there's no extra hospital space, there's no extra doctors.
Well, there's 7.4 million people already on the waiting list in the NHS.
Yeah.
See, you can't get a dentist, right?
Yeah, so
it's impossible.
the more people we bring in, there's got to be
Yeah.
a breaking point.
Yeah.
That's my point. There's got to be a breaking point. I don't believe we should be. We are a Christian country,
Yeah.
and some of the videos I see on YouTube and on Facebook are quite worrying.
Yeah.
Right? Because I know a lot of young men have come in the country, and I've worked with a lot of these young men. And my biggest worry is we've already got an army here.
Yeah.
All right, and people might not like it, and everybody's intentions are good, and I don't want to, if somebody's in the gutter, I won't walk over them. I will help them. You would,
Yep.
right? But I worry about our security and the safety of this country.
Yeah. Let me just reinforce, Neil. We are not opposing legal immigration. Okay. What we're concerned about is illegal immigration. Correct?
Yeah, I'm worried about my future. I'm worried about my children's future, and my main thing is I don't care how nice people are. There is a breaking point, and we're at that breaking point, right? Because people are fed up with people coming in, and they are getting treatment, special treatment. I do know that. I've got 5, 6, 8 letters saying this is another stories which I'm not going to go down road, right? But Nightingale, they get pushed in there. They got interpreters, 170 quid an hour, half an hour. Right, they get a taxi.
It
that
does
brings them
encourage you to learn
Well,
another
they get
language,
taxis
doesn't it?
I wish I could. You know, I do
Nat,
start
what do you have to
learning.
say about that?
And not just that. I mean, I've sat in the Nightingale for an appointment before, and because there was a translator needed, and she wasn't there, that then puts extra stress on that
Sure.
doctor,
Yeah.
time-wise, when there are people that are genuinely needing
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
be seen.
The reason why, Nat, I mentioned that we of course support legal immigration. The legal immigration has, we have our hands full right now. 7.4 waiting list. The 18-week target hasn't been met in 8 years now, and literally British people are dying, whether they're legal or illegal. They're dying because of that.
Yeah.
Right.
The-
So we got a problem that
well,
we
let's
really
go
need
back.
to resolve.
Reform. Right. This brings us on to a political landscape. This is fantastic.
Thank you very
the way
much,
you were
yeah.
saying the political landscape.
So what has the approach been for
Right.
Labour, for example?
Right. Without using the left and right, which we said we weren't going to use. Right. People are being labelled. All right, and labelling each other. We need to cut the labelling out. We need discussions. Okay. But everybody, I am reform. If you go on to Devon Live, I did a statement the other day what we stand for in Exeter and Devon. All right, the party line is we don't want people in unless it comes in the correct channel. We will detain them and we move them on. Okay, but reform is there. Reform has put his party his message out. Now, my view is Labour is changing their stance.
That's
Am
what
I
I
right or
hear.
wrong?
Yeah,
Yeah, they seem to be matching.
So
Just-
are they going to the right now, all of a sudden?
What?
Or are they following reform? Well, you tell
I
me.
think they sort of think
No,
if
tell
we
me,
change
guys.
it,
What are they doing? Are they?
I
are
think
they-
they're just
They've
looking
got
for
to,
votes.
because we're the majority of this country.
Reform are
wanna
winning,
see
guys.
the change.
We need to get reform. We need to get rid of these Labour guys in Exeter for a start, and that's another. You'll be seeing that.
That's another. That'll be
Right.
another thing.
But Labour government is changing their views, and they're changing. Now they're on about detaining people. So the protesters going to go out and say, "Why are you detaining them?"
Mm-hmm.
They're on about one in, one out. Is the protesters going to say anything about that?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
And that's just not going to work.
How many British
Yeah.
flags? Do
How
you,
can they-
Doug, put that up? How many British flags do you see flying there?
yeah. I mean, it's interesting. They say one in, one out. I mean, if they can do one out, why didn't they do one out before without having one in?
Yeah,
the
but which
logic
countries
just
are
isn't
doing
there.
one in, one
it's,
out
It's
of?
just a.
Where are they sending them?
It's just.
Because nobody
yeah.
wants them.
Well,
Let's
they
be
aren't.
on it.
They
Yeah.
aren't. They haven't even sent one out, I doubt. But
They only
the
come
thing
back
i-
in again.
anyway,
The,
so
the thing is, it sounds good, doesn't it? To
Yeah.
somebody
It
that is
sounds like a vote
absolutely
winner.
disillusioned by British politics, and to say to have an outline like that, one in, one out,
Doug,
it gives somebody something to think about. But if you delved into it, I think we all know that's rubbish.
hey,
Yeah.
Doug, can you get that?
but let's go back to it. So
The
why are
protester
people
one on there,
why are
which you
people
got on-
voting for
yeah.
reform?
That protester
I
one.
think,
Yeah.
Well,
Thanks.
like I said, the same
Rob,
as.
why are we voting?
we're
Why
reform-
are people voting for reform? No, it's not just about immigration.
No, it's because
about
they want
everything.
change.
Well, because we have concrete
And
solutions.
I don't see anybody else having these conversations, to be honest.
Yeah, but I just think reform is getting stronger. Labour is changing its political landscape. So I'm hoping these people
Yeah.
who disagree with Labour's political landscape, because they are on about detaining.
We've got it kind of running out of time, but let me just run through what reform says in our manifesto. We're going to implement a minister for deportations, ensuring that anyone who arrives here illegally is returned to their country of origin. Now, I don't think anybody's saying that. We're going to freeze all asylum grants, stop the funding for politically motivated charities that support those who enter the country illegally. For example, we've got a lot of charities. As soon as somebody lands on the shores, charity steps in with a lawyer and
Lawyers
stuff
are
like
there,
that.
yeah.
Oh yeah,
So-
lawyers, phones.
So
and
we've
all that.
All on
got we have
legal aid.
concrete solutions,
But
right?
the money's going to run out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's just summarise this, can we? Both sides. We have to respect both sides. All right. So we have to respect both sides. So we have to sit round the table and listen. Let's not put in them mega horns, which were done last weekend, shouting at each other. Sorry, that was one side. I'm not going to say which side, but it's a mature conversation. And closing this down, 3 words. This is what we're going to close down before we do Weed of the Week. Is community comes first.
Yes. Yeah.
I think Those are the three words that are important.
Yeah.
All right.
You know,
But
Well, and our family.
Or
And our
country
families.
comes first. Whatever you want to say.
I do look at it, you know, which might be controversial, but I just think the community at
Sorry.
the moment is being watered down.
yeah, and there was an article that I read because we got a couple more minutes we can do on this topic. But there was an article I read, Tony, that came out a couple days ago, which I thought was fair. Is that we ought to be all sitting around in a circle discussing this topic, you know, because we're all British, right? Some of you came here legally, Nat, and have a respectful conversation. We shouldn't have what's happened. I don't know if Doug, you can get that slide back up of the megaphone and stuff like that. But I understand
Well,
one of our.
these are from Plymouth. What are they
Yeah.
doing to Exeter? They're,
Well,
they're
see,
rented.
I don't know
They've
if
been
you-
bought in. Now
I
look
think-
at that
I think
letter
they're
there.
called
What does that
rentals.
letter
yeah,
say?
yeah.
What does that
There
letter
were,
say?
the
does it
stand
say?
up to racism people were circulating a little flyer that says, "Hey, buses, catch a bus to Plymouth for the next one, guys."
So Labour are labouring people
Yeah.
for confrontation. Let's stop it,
Yeah.
guys.
There are
Normal-
people there,
normal labor.
Neil, from Kent, from Essex, from London.
They didn't. They,
People with megaphones. There was a trumpet there. It was really. I didn't see one British flag. So, you know, we ought to be wearing the British flag, right?
Can I
That's what
say
I'm
as
saying.
well? By the way, I've laid my colours to the mast on this, and if anyone wants to give me abuse or give me their point of view,
well,
I'm quite prepared to listen. As we all are.
four of us are on the same side. That
Yeah.
it's a breaking point. This is only one little
Yeah.
country, and it's a breaking point.
Yeah.
So if you want to carry on building on
And if you've
Greenland,
got
building
your
more
version, I
houses
was
because
gonna
we've got
say.
to house people, so be it. Weed of the week.
No,
Yeah.
I was going to
Well,
say, if you do have your version, come on the show.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
we'll
come
invite
on,
people
we-
on.
you know,
I'd
we
love
don't
to.
just-
Love to. Right, weed of the
Oh,
week.
whoa. Before we get in the weed of the week, just got a little couple bullets about what you're going to do. We
Oh,
got-
they'll have
okay.
to wait.
I
they'll
need
have
to know what
wait.
you guys are going to actually do for a change.
Well,
okay, Neil.
do you want me to go?
Neil, you
line
got
it
2
first, or
points.
do you
Yeah,
wanna
you
do
go.
yours?
Tony, you go first. Okay.
All right, there's a big development coming up, probably in Nadderwater, at the top of the hill, Red Hills. I'm meeting the planning officer on Monday. It's going to happen, guys, but I'm going to try and push to sort of improve the infrastructure.
Natterwater is only like 3 houses when you see Natter. It's
well,
not
it
like
won't
New
be
York
3
City,
houses when
Tony.
this construction's built.
How
so,
many houses?
I believe about 75 they're going to try and put in. It is a nature area. I suspect it's owned by
Okay.
Devon County Council, and I suspect they want to sell the land. So
Okay.
I will find out on
Oh,
Monday.
we're right for time. We've got 8 more minutes yet. Correct.
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
we're
I
getting
thought
there.
we had 2,
and but
Oh, and I've just chucked out that
Tony,
one.
what? Now you're also going to focus on the disability equipment for the
Yeah,
gyms,
well, you
okay?
stopped me on that one. Yeah, the
I know.
disability one. Not much to say really. I'm meeting again, Devon County Hall. I'm going to take it to the Department of Wellbeing. So I'm going to seek some more advice and see exactly what the situation is around Devon and whether it's
Good.
just Exeter that doesn't have it.
Excellent. Okay, now can I put Nat in the hot seat? Okay.
Yeah, go for it. Now.
Sir,
Go
what
for
are you
it.
going to be doing the next week besides?
The next week,
Yeah, or the next few weeks anyway.
well, every day I'm just trying to please and help all my parishes. To try and pick one out of all of them would
Mhm.
be
Mhm.
difficult, but the key is, and what I'm finding a lot, and they appreciate it, is swift responses, and action
And solutions, if you
and
can.
solutions if you can do it.
Good point. Yeah.
If you hit brick walls, you can question it, you can push it,
Yeah.
but the key is to represent them to the best of
And
your
Awesome.
keep keep them updated.
And
with
how many
progress.
parishes are there?
17 in my district
Gosh,
or division. Sorry.
huh.
That's a busy.
You have to
boy.
go to church every Sunday then.
I'm
To,
embarrassed of it.
every
Well,
day, right?
I'm getting there.
There's a
Some
parish
of
church
the
every-
meetings are on same days.
Yeah.
And obviously I've got work, 3 jobs, or 2. I don't know.
Okay.
Depends. Depends when I'm called at home, but yeah, and such lovely people that work on those parish councils do some great stuff, give up their time, and another thing that's sort of being like the bells ringing, there aren't many people want to do it anymore. Not many volunteers, so we need to encourage communities to get together, be a part of their community, and maybe put some things aside to
Yeah.
spare a few hours because it will just make it a better place in the future.
I agree totally. In fact, there's John F. Kennedy, who's president in 1963, said, "Ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country." I think that's what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks very much. Okay, Neil, you're in the hot seat now. What are you up to?
Okay, so I'm continuing to focus on Stagecoach. I'm going to ask to meet Peter again. He's the one in charge. I still get a lot of issues with it, so we need to sort that out. And my biggest thing is this funding for street maintenance. As I said, I've already put a motion in, and I'll keep people updated on that. So there's a lot of things, 4 motions, a lot of things going on. I like what you said. That reminded me of Alphington, the church. The guy I met today said lack of volunteers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I went into the St. Thomas Church the other day with the fete, really enjoyed the fete. I didn't want to take the limelight away from the Labour guys who were all there doing a fantastic job as well. But that church, if we could inspire that church to be the same as other churches, it just brings bit back in community. And on that topic, Tony and I are going to do a surgery at the back of there, and I'm going to do a surgery in Alphington, which will come out in the next few weeks.
Yeah, when it's announced, tea and cakes, isn't it?
Okay.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So on to your most important and favorite subject, Neil.
Yeah, Christina, thank you for the Weed of the Week. I'm not going to give any more names. She won Weed of the Week. We went out, presented her with that. She was really thrilled. She actually done a fantastic job because she made some of the neighbours feel guilty. So some of the neighbours went out and de-weeded their street, and it's looking better. So we can always throw mud at the council, and we can moan about all this. But also, if you went out the front of your garden or your front of your road with a shovel or something like that, just for a minute, just do your stretch of the
It all adds
Yeah.
up.
You're actually bang on there, and it takes 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever.
Exactly.
Just a little bit
and
of
it's
time.
exercise as well.
Yeah.
One of my emails this week was, we've got an overgrown hedge on a footpath. Think the hedge belongs to the landowner,
Mm-hmm.
but I even offered. I said I'd go and do it myself. I said, if somebody in the parish could take away the cuttings, I'll come down, cut it down, and problem solved.
Yeah.
So
Hey,
still working on it.
Neil,
Overgrown.
what about Tony? What about his Weed of the Week, huh?
I'm working on that one. I'm
Right, so
sorry.
the competition,
It's another
whoever's on
secret
his side of the river, the road, Carrick Street's the line, he's right, I'm left. All right, if you want to beat Weed of the Week, get me the pictures. I will show you all the pictures next week. I didn't want to give you loads
St.
of
Thomas
sides.
and next week need a
But
winner.
right now, Carrick is winning.
Yes, it is. Carrick's, I think it's 2-0 up now, isn't it?
Yeah. And before we finish, guys, I think you're going to sum it all up. But we invite anybody on here. All you got to do is pick up the phone, email Tony or myself, or Nat, or
any of the reform councillors, really.
Rob. All right, and it's open to come
And
up
whatever
here.
point of view
But
you've
it's got to be
got.
sensible discussions. Agreed.
Yeah, and respectful discussions,
Yeah.
Tony. Okay. Next
I'll let-
time,
I'll let
show
you
a bit
sum it
more
up.
respect. Okay. Thanks very much. So, guys, thanks very much for watching. Stay tuned for more on these topics. Next week we've got a really great one, and we'll see. You'll see a link on Facebook and YouTube tomorrow for those. Sorry we weren't able to get to your Q&As on this session, but we will pick it up the following, please. And don't forget, look on Neil's YouTube channel and hit the subscribe button, please, because that way you get notified every single time.
I'd like to apologise too if I was disrespectful.
Yeah.
I will say that.
Nat,
yeah.
any final words of wisdom that you'd like
Well,
to say?
thank you for having me on.
And
I
you're
look
invited
forward to
again, by the way.
You're
look
invited
forward to
again.
coming back again. This is my first podcast, so
Your first
Oh,
one.
yeah. It's
So
your
you're not
first
shy?
one, is it?
Neil, I'm famous, but not that famous.
I'm
I
famous,
will
in,
add- I will
famous
say-
in different anger, innit?
Nathaniel
Remember
was
the
saying he
truth will
does
come out.
racehorses. You may even get tip of the week.
I was
You don't
famous
know.
and I didn't even know about it. My wife drove out to tell me. Yeah.
Thanks, guys, for watching us. We'll see you next Friday, Neil, on